How's it going, everyone? I think quite a few people have got in here. No, Josh, it's just starting. We just got set up, so that is what we were waiting for. But before we begin, if you guys want to check the description below and check out AM's Twitter and his PDF if you haven't already looked through that, and then also his YouTube. He posted this last week and he's going to continue to upload some more stuff. Is that right, AM?
That's correct.
So, some good stuff coming there. Probably better than my channel, to be honest. So
Yeah,
go
I don't know
check
about
that out.
that.
Get Ralph or MMXM. I think yeah, Ralph and I are planning on doing one at some point. How's it going, Ryan? So essentially, how it's gonna kind of go is if you haven't already looked through the PDF below, I would suggest clicking on that before we kind of get started and familiarize yourself with those materials, and then it's kind of just a Q&A stream for AM over that material, but it is not exactly limited to that material. So if you have other questions you want answered, feel free to ask them in the chat. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. Let me double check that AM screen. All right, yeah,
Is it
that
working?
looks, yeah, I'm gonna adjust it just a tad. All right, yeah, we're good there. All right, cool. You haven't missed anything. We just started up. So, AM, do you have questions up, or do you want me to, or like, do you have that on a side screen?
I do. I think it's a little delayed.
Okay.
But I do see the questions. But yeah, like you said, you're open to ask really anything. So
Uh, Regarding the making of the weekly profile, should we only focus on high impact news, given the importance of the economic calendar for the manipulation?
should we focus on only high impact news? For me personally, yes. I only focus on red folders. So like on forexcalendar.com, I'll filter out all other yellow, orange folder news. I don't really consider that for, weekly manipulation. So I'll filter that out. And, whether you're trading Forex, you can go on like Euro news. I trade indices. So USD is what I'm looking at. And kind of that's like a first order of operation for doing the weekly profiles. So I'm looking at when is the first high impact news driver for the week. And that's more, there's going to be plenty of red folder, but you're kind of going to want to focus on the 8:30 news events. And then the odd one out is like FOMC at 2:30. So we can take, was it last week? Look. Yeah, last week we had Wednesday FOMC. So that would be an example of I don't trade Monday or Tuesday because I anticipate some form of accumulation or high resistance price action. And then that Wednesday, I anticipate a form of manipulation. And that's just prior to high impact news, that first one of the week. There's going to be, that accumulation and engineering of liquidity. And then you anticipate a manipulation. And then always following a manipulation, we look for expansion. And my model kind of follows under that. That's kind of what I'm looking for a trade. So that's like first step when you go to a week is looking at the economic calendar for sure.
Let's see. Another one. Do you ever look back and cast forward? I'm not sure on the specifics of that question.
I don't. Yeah, maybe if you could elaborate a
Expand.
little bit on that.
Do you believe these methodologies are applicable to stocks as well, or just currency and
Um,
futures? I mean, I don't really watch stocks or have back tested or looked at that
yeah,
per se.
I've seen people do it. The issue with doing stuff like this on stocks is you have a gap in price. They don't trade during London or Asia session, and that really messes up the daily chart. You're going to have hours of gaps in price. So that's kind of going to be the issue with looking at charts. That's why, like on if we go to my chart, we're looking at NQ. We can go to a daily chart. We trade the futures chart because it's very fluid, and the daily candles they open where the previous day closed. If I were to go to QQQ, which is
The
the ETF
ETF,
chart,
yeah.
yeah, we're seeing gaps in price, and it's very hard to read this. So that's one of the main issues. And then the other is I don't actually know if kind of stocks follow the principles of ICT concepts.
Let's see. Next one, asking about time frame alignment to catch the Judas swing. or confirming the weekly profile.
Where is that quite? Is it
Um, it's
frame
like up
alignment?
like 8 or so.
So time frame alignment confirming.
So like what time frames do you generally use?
Yeah, so I mean, time frame for weekly profile, mainly I'm going to be looking at sometimes I use the weekly, but it's very uncommon to get a really clean weekly PD array to trade off of, at least for me in my experience. So I like to use daily and 4 hour for a higher time frame PD array, and then I like to use the hourly intra-week to confirm a change in state of delivery for a reversal. So kind of those two time frames are a good higher time frame to use, and then that would kind of align for a weekly profile.
Okay. I'm trying to read some of the comments. They're going quick. Um, I'm trying to read some. I'm not really sure on that question. Let's see. I did already. Is the volume good? Because I've had a few people ask about it. I've already adjusted it higher, but if it needs to go higher, I can go higher again. Just don't spam chat, or I will mute you. Do you want to talk quickly about the change in state of delivery? And then I'm going to look at some.
Yeah, so let's see if I can find one that I
Uh,
traded. So here we have, I traded expansion move here. This was, you can capture the weekly candle. So Monday, midnight price, and then we have the weekly close. So this is an hourly chart showing what would be a weekly candle, and then a reversal. If you understand weekly profiles, this is a midweek reversal. So price is reversing on a Wednesday, sweep of a previous day high. And when looking for a change in state of delivery, this isn't the cleanest example, but the 3 steps you want to look for is 1, price is engaging a higher time frame PD array. We have that here, and we're pairing that with the weekly profile on a Wednesday. So that is time and price. And I like to use the hourly for a weekly change in state of delivery. And what we're looking at is on the left is prices in a bullish order flow. And this is the moment we hit a higher time frame PD array. And I want to use the change in state of delivery to depict the time that price goes into a sell program for bearish order flow. So what I want to see is when we're changing to a bearish order flow, the last up close candle that engaged the higher time frame PD array, I want to see a close below that price. So that would be here. So on this candle right here on Wednesday at 12, price changed state of delivery. And you can see how previously we're respecting down close candles moving higher, and now we're retesting up close candles and we're continuing lower. So you can either use that or a breaker. It's not as clean here, but we can break it down to a 30-minute. Same idea. If you want to use a breaker, these down close candles, we hit the higher time frame PD array. And here we have a break. This. So that same idea, price closes below that breaker. And now we have a change in state of delivery, and we can even extend that out. And now we're retesting that. And at that moment in time, we're now looking for sells on Thursday, and then of course Friday.
a question that probably relates to this week, NFP weekly profiles, or how you look at that.
NFP weekly profile. So NFP is a bit of a weird one. So I mean, a protocol for me is automatically I never trade Mondays. I look for Tuesday is sometimes a trade opportunity. That's only if Monday were to engage a higher time frame PD array, which doesn't always happen. I don't trade Mondays often because I think it's usually higher resistance and doesn't offer much for a trade setup. So, in the case that Monday, just, forget this is a Wednesday. If this was Monday, then potentially Tuesday could offer a trade opportunity. But I usually avoid the beginning of NFP week. And then when Friday comes around, I use the NFP release itself at 8:30 on Friday as a volatility driver. And then I use Monday through Thursday as kind of data to see if a weekly profile set up, and then kind of just following that through on Friday.
And then one question, midnight open or 1700 open? And I think we both use midnight open. So
Midnight open for sure. Yeah.
yeah. How do you use power 3 for analyzing the day or week, where it is manipulation and where it can be looking for a buy or sell? So, I
Where is
mean,
that question?
that's it's right above where I posted the Discord link.
It's just easy to read it out. There's a lot. Could you
I
just
know.
repeat that?
Yeah. How do you use power of 3 for analyzing the day or week? And basically the question's asking how do you understand the manipulation and where you should be looking for a buy or a sell?
How do you use Power of Three? That's kind of like a broad question. I mean,
Yeah.
weekly profiles themselves are a open, high, low, and close. Like on this chart, open, high, low, and close. It's kind of just ingrained in what a weekly profile is.
Yeah.
I'm
I
kind of
think
not sure
it's
how to really answer that.
it's tough because you kind of use it without even realizing it sometimes.
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
think,
implied.
yeah. What you can study is the sessions. So Asia session, London, and then New York usually will give some sort of power of 3 if you want to look at it that way. Um, how do you use or how do you see seek and destroy profile as a weekly profile? Or I just had an aneurysm reading that. How do you see seek and destroy as weekly profile?
So that's one of the profiles that ICT uses, but I don't. So that would be like a seek and destroy, bullish or bearish Friday. That's really just a profile where the external range is just being continuously swept, and that's like what I'm sure T would consider a broadening formation.
Yeah,
But that's kind of not something I trade because the order flow isn't very clear. It's just
yeah.
continuous manipulation. So it's
Um,
not really a profile
I
I
can
use.
actually kind of find like a essentially. Let me go to EG real quick. So I was talking about this in a live stream in the Discord the other day, but this isn't technically a weekly profile, but really what you do is like you could use this as like an hourly chart is when you just fail to displace over um, buy side and sell side. So if you're on an hourly chart, you can't displace over this high, likely to fall back into the range. Can't displace lower, come back in right here. Now we're just stuck in the middle of this range, right? So that's kind of your seek and destroy profile, if that's what you're kind of asking. Um, let's see. Uh, what do you do if price is choppy on Monday or Tuesday? Uh, don't watch it generally. I think, which you can normally see coming through the economic calendar. I don't personally use volume. I don't know, AM, do you use any volume?
I do not know.
Let's see. I think some of these questions go fast. When you say higher time frame PD array, will we consider 1 hour as well as the PDF mentioned as time frame greater than 1 hour? Because in this NQ example, you used 1 hour old high being swept as the PD array.
Yeah, so I mean, considering a weekly reversal, I'm kind of favoring a little bit higher than a 1 hour. I like 1 hour for intraday using like the daily profiles. But like for this example, it's a previous day high, so it holds more significance. Like that is this here, so technically it is higher time frame because we're considering it the whole previous day. I was just kind of showing it on an hourly chart. Um, but like for liquidity, I'm not looking at really internal. I'm looking external and anything above previous day high. Like I don't use intra-session or anything like that for a weekly profile.
Yeah, I guess that weekly profile occurs during December. I think he's more saying that he doesn't use that weekly profile, not that it doesn't occur.
Yeah, I just don't use it ever.
Yeah. I do not use days quarter theory, but that is basically power of 3 based on session or opens of different time frames. Um, MACD, I personally don't use MACD. Is ICT going to delete everything on YouTube after November? I would say likely not.
No.
considering he wants to go for like 1 million subscribers. Let's say we were ranging on the 15-minute time frame. After ranging, we broke the range above. How do you identify or know the range will hold and not go below? Well, if you watch my most recent video on my channel, that's essentially all that it is over. So I'll leave that to that. Do I apply central bank dealing range? I personally don't. I don't know. AM, do you use central bank dealing
No, I
range?
use standard deviations anchored to market structure and then Judas swings for
Yeah.
deviation.
Can you shed light on how to catch or anticipate the big moves on either Wednesday or Thursday? I mean, like the reversal of what price had done on Monday and Tuesday, as we see here on the chart on the screen. So
Yeah.
I think they're saying like once you get the bias, maybe how to and
Mm,
catch the move. Is that what
I
you're
mean,
asking?
yeah, seems like can you show me how to catch the big moves either Wednesday or Thursday. So I mean, that is like if I could show you one like the most conservative but easiest way to use these weekly profiles is you're looking for one a higher time frame level to be traded to, and then you're considering the day of the week that price traded there, and then you're looking for that change in state of delivery, like we mentioned here. So if I'd be looking at this chart on Wednesday, we're not trading yet because price didn't confirm a weekly profile, but I'd be seeing Monday and Tuesday up close. Price is quite obviously in a premium, sweeping a previous day high, a change in state of delivery, and then prices expanding lower. And I don't trade until New York session. So I'd be looking at a chart here, and then I'd automatically be looking for a downside, and then I'd be considering expansion for the day. So I'd be looking for any way to get on side with the expansion, and that's where you need to catch, the quote unquote big moves. And they're, this is I look for expansion because that's the easiest way to manage trades, and it's these trades that feel super easy and simple. Like that's a very large move to be catching. You could end your week catching a move like that. I didn't even catch the second downside, but I played this price move here. That's a 200-point move. That's enough to end your week there. So those three steps is like those are the simplest way to really use a weekly profile if you have the patience to do it.
Sorry if I'm missing some of the questions. If I do miss them, just join the Discord and you can drop them in there later. And AM is in there as well, and it's my Discord, so we can get to them later. Brokerage that we use for futures. I use NinjaTrader. I think AM uses Ninja and Tradeovate.
Yep, both.
So, let's see. Should we trade after an hour of news, or should we let it pass and trade in the afternoon session? I think that's kind of up to you to answer. I know what we prefer, but I feel like telling when people should trade is not something we do.
Just never trade through high impact news. Don't hold your trades. That's about it.
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, a good rule of thumb for if you're trading on days with genuine high impact news, like I mentioned, red folder 8:30, you probably want to be avoiding price before. So if you're a London session trader, it's probably not favorable to be trading before that release happens. So that's like a general rule of thumb that you can follow.
How do you anticipate midweek reversal profile? That's. Do you want
Pretty
to go
much.
over that?
I mean, that's pretty much
Yeah,
what.
you just kind of explained it.
Um,
Do you? So another question is, do you trade on the H1, so hourly chart, or do you want to talk about how you drop down time frames real quick, maybe with that example?
what was the question?
He was just saying, do you trade on the hour, or like do you execute on the hourly chart? Because then your stop loss will be larger. So if you want to explain how you drop down.
I don't necessarily trade on an hourly chart, but hourly chart for kind of gauging the daily bias within a weekly profile is my favorite. So, like, obviously, you can see I've been sticking to an hourly this whole time because I think it gives a good view. So, like this example here is midweek reversal Wednesday. So I'm anticipating a Thursday expansion lower on an hourly chart. I can already see that price made a high during London, so that could be considered a London high or a London reversal. We displace, we have up close candles, and we have an imbalance. So my framework going into 9:30, or there was no high impact news this day, I don't believe. Going into 9:30, I'm looking for sells in this range here. So that's how I kind of frame. I get on side in a specific way, but using like an hourly framework, this is what I'm looking at. It's a small dealing range. I don't anticipate this high being swept. And then I'm trading with that bias in mind on the hourly chart.
On a classic week profile, how should you anticipate Monday price action? Generally consolidation most of the time. If you're talking about classic buy or sell.
I usually don't even trade Mondays. Oh, I never do. I don't know why I said maybe, but I never trade Mondays. Generally because it can be, the accumulation phase, but also considering there is never high impact news on Mondays. So volatility is always entering usually later in the week, Tuesday at the earliest. So avoiding Monday is usually favorable. Also, if you're, relying on weekly profiles, you have no data for the week before, Monday starts opening. So Monday is data you can use to anticipate the profile. I think a misconception is that people may see the weekly profile guided post and think, I know everything, but usually when the week opens, I don't know what the weekly profile is going to be. And I'm kind of letting the chart paint it out for me. So that's kind of a reason for at least avoiding Monday.
There's always a move on the 1 minute chart. Oh, Nick's. I knew Nick would say something like that. Let's see. We trade the smaller time frame with the weekly profile. I mean, yeah, you can always drop down time frames. Do you
Yep.
trade through TV or broker platform? With Ninja Trader, I don't go through TV. It's right on my PC. Um, what strat do I use for highest win rate? I've seen this question a few times and I've ignored it just because win rate doesn't necessarily depend on strat. It's quite a few other things too, and goes hand in hand with risk to reward. If you have a very low risk to reward, you can have an extremely high win rate. What time frames do you use for execution? I personally use M5. What about you, AM?
Anything with really, I mean, I know it's probably unpopular, but I'll use M1 to M5 usually with the way I try to get on side with the trades. But it's always with an understanding of at least the hourly profile. So it's kind of backed up by a hard time frame.
AM, does your channel explain this all in detail? No, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Eventually it will. I only have 2 videos up there right now,
Yeah.
but eventually.
Yeah, so make sure you go check out in the description below. I linked AM's YouTube, so go ahead and go over there and subscribe because he'll be coming out with a lot of great videos. He actually just put out a video on the TGIF setup if you want to check that out. And Tempest, that actually answers your question on Friday if you want to go check out AM's video. I sound like a butler. Yeah, here, I'll just pin AM's comment. All right, if you can't find, can someone clear or like double check that you can click on his name that's pinned, find and go to his YouTube channel from there? I want to carry the boats. uh, so he actually just went over the change in state of delivery. So if you want to scroll back in the video, you can check that out. We're not going to make him repeat himself. Suppose if Asia is consolidating but price doesn't go up, go below midnight open or below Asia low to sweep liquidity but just zooms up, what should I do? I mean, that kind of depends on your drawn liquidity and bias. Because like if you look towards, I think it was Thursday this week, or no, it was Friday. Friday on NQ, we didn't sweep those lows. We just moved up. When filtering out displacements that occur out of consolidation, do you consider consolidation generated by inside bars as unfavorable? Well, really, any consolidation when zoomed up to a higher time frame is going to be an inside bar to some extent. So I'm not really sure on the question. AM, do you want to drop your YouTube link in the comment so I can pin it?
Link, yeah.
Or actually, I can find it as well.
I don't really know YouTube that well. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
do that.
No, I'll get it figured out. Hopefully this works. Someone let me know if they can click on that and go to his channel. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right. So his YouTube is pinned to the comment section, or you can check the description below. I put it there. What's your risk to reward? I mean, that depends on the target, I think.
I do 2 hour minimum.
Yeah. What if high does not make on Tuesday or Wednesday? How do you manage your trades? Well, AM, do you want to go over that one?
If a high or low is not made on Tuesday or Wednesday. So if there's no engagement of a higher time frame PD array to like confirm reversal, Monday through Wednesday, the only thing I'm looking at is price consolidating like in an internal range, and that would be a call for a Thursday consolidation or a consolidation reversal, which is if price was consolidated those 3 days, which didn't offer a trade opportunity, then on Thursday, I'm marking out the external high and low, and I'm seeing if there's a form of manipulation on that trade or on that day to kind of set up a weekly profile for that.
Sweet. Link works. Awesome. So yeah, if you guys want to make sure to just go subscribe, thank you for coming and spending your time with us, AM. Tell me whether 27th July NQ candle on the daily is a swing low or high. Um,
July.
27th July. I mean,
It's both. The
yeah,
outside.
it made a swing low and a swing high.
Yeah.
So, and then we have an inside bar that is absolutely absurd. How do you feel after a loss and how do you get over it? For me, I used to struggle with taking losses, but now I kind of think more long term. So instead of thinking a single trade, I think of like 15 trades and how does that actually impact my account, you know? I don't know, AM, how do you deal with losses?
I agree. I think definitely before I kind of have an issue with always wanting to be like in control or like having everything be perfect, but with trading you kind of have to let that go. So to get confidence in taking a loss, you have to be confident in your model and journal your trades and experience and know that you actually have an edge. So when you take a loss, that eventually it's going to come back around and you're going to be okay. So kind of just having confidence in what you're doing.
How can you use London session candles to anticipate the move at New York Open? I'm planning on making a video on that eventually, but it kind of that comes into the daily profile. Didn't you just drop your daily profile PDF, AM?
Yep, there was the second one today.
Yeah, so if you check out AM's Twitter, you'll actually find some daily profile stuff that will talk basically about that question. So, Bitcoin analysis into the week. I mean, I can go over the last couple of days what I've been looking for on Bitcoin. It's very simple. It's just until we aren't respecting this fair value gap anymore, I want to see sell side liquidity taken. So that's about it. That's all I've seen. I also don't watch Bitcoin at all and I don't trade it, so I don't really ever look to analyze it. I was just hopping in the daily and I saw these candles respecting it, so I looked at it. Uh, how old are you guys? I'm 22. AM is
21.
21. Yeah. How would you describe last week on Euro USD? Let's, I mean, the sell. Yeah. I can pull up my chart if we want. Here's the, oh, I'm gonna have to replay. So essentially the way to look at it in terms of the weekly profile is that we opened and then Thursday ended up making the high. This is just news, high impact news, and then we drop lower. So, I mean, it goes lower. I don't think it touched into this. It actually made it equal lows right there. I haven't done a whole lot of analysis on it. I don't know what you mean by really describing it, other than it's a bearish candle. All right. Yeah, you're a user on this channel. Holy. Yeah, don't spam chat or else you'll get muted. Uh, holy, let me see. Do you have any expectations for NQ this week?
What did he say?
Someone was asking expectations for NQ this week, but I
Um,
mean,
no. Like I
I
said, I don't like know the weekly profiles before the week starts printing, and I'm allowing at the least I let Monday trade, and then I kind of go from there. Don't have much on that.
yeah, Sonia is gone. She'll never be seen on this channel again.
Oh my
um,
god.
8 indicators on my chart. I mean, so I can show them. One of them is a watermark. Another one's a watermark. Another one's a watermark. One of them's daily profile, or this one's weekly. Daily profile, and then I still have volume up there, and I have this trail stop. But that's that. Oh, and then this kill zones indicator, which if you watch my liquidity video, it was in there. So like 3 of them are watermarks, 2 of them are open high low close, one's in sessions indicator, and then I have volume and an APR trail stop, which I never really use this. I just have it up there. Um, I'm not sure what you mean for confirmation, but um, just buy and sell limits, yeah. Let's see. Plot text on your chart. Let me go back. That's just watermark light. And so then you can just choose stuff to put in it. So like for example, this one just puts NQ in the top left-hand corner of my chart. Are you okay with people using indicators in their models? Yeah. The thing is, your model doesn't have to be like someone else's model. Like AM's model is probably is like slightly different than my model, or my model is going to be different than someone else's model. So it's like it's whatever works for you. Like you don't even have to use ICT. I know people that use 821 EMA crosses with VWAP, right? Like it doesn't matter what you use. Uh, so you don't ever try to establish the weekly bias until after Monday. I mean, generally I like to have an idea of where price is heading from a higher time frame perspective, like weekly or monthly. I like monthly personally, but you don't try to predict low of the week generally until it happens, or you get your change in state of delivery. And if you just look back at what AM explained, um, silver bullet video. Yeah, I'll plan on making one eventually. Why trade NQ over ES? If you want to answer that, ES or AM.
I prefer NQ just because it's usually more volatile. So like the manipulation, the expansion are more exaggerated on the chart, and usually it just comes out cleaner in price, just from my experience. But I'll switch to ES if there's a clear like strength or weakness in one of the pairs. So like for example, if there was like a TGIF opportunity, and and ES was clearly weaker throughout the entire week, and I'm looking for a bearish setup, then I'm going to trade ES. Like I'm going to take that over because it's likely to make a better move to the downside. But in general, I'm looking at NQ for the majority of my trades, for like what I just previously said.
Why do we present material in TradingView instead of our broker platform? Because it's a lot easier to chart on TradingView than NinjaTrader, personally.
Especially Creative is terrible. Their platform
Yeah.
sucks.
So, and it looks a lot better. It's a lot easier to share stuff, more customizable. And like I've already learned this, so I don't want to learn another platform. Um, is the weekly profile your way of determining bias, or is that something completely different? For me personally, I use weekly profile, but a lot of times I get daily bias by using next day model a lot of the times. So I'll just look for um, generally a daily candle to close respecting a PD array, but then that aligns with the weekly profile. Need some water. When ICT says 20 handles, 20 pips, I think most of the time he's talking about five handles, but when he's saying five handles, it's generally referring to ES, which is $50 a point, so it's $250. So that would be essentially 25 pips for one lot. What happens after big ranges? Generally consolidation. Holy, I missed some questions.
Are you asking me?
Or I missed some questions. If you want to read some questions and
Yeah,
answer.
there's a lot here.
Yeah. If I was to summarize what's most important in my entry model, and how would you? I think the entry models, the more and more you learn, is like the least important part. It's mostly about managing risk. But I like to see displacement and then some failure swings below. I mean, there's so many different ways you can enter a trade. I don't understand where is the PD array for the NQ weekly. It's just a PD array on his PDF. Let's see. I wonder if there's a way to like slow the mode down on this so I can see it. Um, what aspect of psychology has helped you the most in your trading? I would say just like you can't always be right. You just have to accept whatever happens happens. Because I used to like just want to control everything.
Do we use 830 or 930 when it comes to forex? I would say no. You can use 830 when there's news, but 930 is something that's kind of solitary to
Yeah.
indices, which is like the New York session open or when equities start trading. So that's kind of in its own kind of asset class.
Ninja Trader or Trade of Eight. Um, I'm glad you enjoy the Discord. Let's see. No, 9:30 is it's basically because of New York Open, right? That's when the New York Stock Exchange opens. So that's why it's used in stocks, not forex. What's the draw for Sunday? I don't watch Sunday, and definitely not Monday this week. So I will be making a video tomorrow. That's what I'll be doing. Hello. I personally don't watch PM session. I only watch AM session. Um, unless there's uh, TGIF set up possibly, but I still like the AM session better. I don't know. What about you, AM?
Yeah, definitely AM session better. At least for me, that's when the majority of the daily expansion is going to occur. Or PM session, I usually only going to do that on FOMC days. So, like on my last trade that I posted for the Wednesday reversal, that's just because the FOMC ends or starts at 2:30, so that's considered PM session. But that's just when the volatility is for the day. So that's really the only time I will favor PM session.
Do you have a certain percentage for SL, like 1 to 2% based on levels, or can it be more than 2%? Um, on like funded accounts, it's set, and then for personal account, it may be a little bit higher, but it's always fixed dollar risk for me personally. So I'm risking the same amount every trade. I don't know. AM.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you should be having your stop based on the chart and then kind of manipulating your position size, that to get that fixed risk. But the amount you want to risk is kind of up to you. I don't, I'm not going to tell you how much of your money to risk, but that's like the process of it.
Um, let's see. Trying to find some more questions. Let's go quick. Let's see. How much of an edge do you demonstrate? What's your biggest factor in my losses? I'm not really sure the question, what you mean, like biggest factor in my losses. My video this week is going to be on bias. Video I made on inducement is enough for the topic, maybe hard time. I'm not really sure what you're asking. Is it enough? Do you know about what proportions ICT hides in its logo and how they're applicable? I've never looked into it and will never look into it, really. I don't,
Agreed.
yeah, I don't think it's like really, like you can go down the rabbit hole, go for it. Like I think it's a waste of time. For me, no, don't reduce my position size in drawdown. I just keep it fixed.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you have a system that works, reducing your position size is, I don't. It's very dependent. I
Oh,
think a good time to reduce position size is if you're mentally not performing well, or if you're really deep in a drawdown. So it's very situational, but yeah,
and I mean, I can go through the math on why I don't do it is because let's say, just for example, we're gonna go with $100, right? Because it's really easy. So let's say I'm risking $100 per trade. I take a loss. I'm at $100, right? And we're just gonna do fixed 2R for this, right? So fixed 2R, $100 risk, right? So let's say my system, if you have a 2R strategy, you can be profitable at 34% win rate, right? But let's say this. Let's say we have a 50% win rate, and then if we take a loss, we reduce our position size. Well, now we took a loss, so now we're only going to be risking $100. If I take a 2R win, well, now I'm only making $100 on that. I'm back to break even. Versus if I kept my same risk, I would have made $200, and then now I'm in profit 1R, right? So that's personally why I don't change it up, just because that adds another variable to the strategy. Um, let's see. Do I feel like I've covered everything on the inducement topic? I think I did a decent job on the basics. Um, it kind of, if you take my inducement video and you pair it with my video I just put out about lack of displacement, and you match that up with PD arrays, it's pretty good. It's how you turtle soup stuff. Um, let's see. Do we have any journaling software specifically? I kind of just journal in Discord. But I don't know, AM thoughts?
I do. I do most of it. I have like my own Excel journal where it distributes all my data into statistics. But just that's that's what I think.
uh, T bear versus hippo versus lion versus killer whale. Who wins? Well, I think the question you're forgetting there is it on land or is it in water? Because if it's on land, the killer whale's dead, and then I'll probably choose a hippo. Those things are scary. But if it's in the water, I'm gonna choose the killer whale. So,
Asking the right questions.
yeah. Let's see. Holy, there's these go quickly. Can you go over market structure? I'm planning on making a market structure video soon. The thing is, it takes me quite some time to make videos because I struggle at public speaking. It's funny enough, so it takes me a few hours to make an 8-minute video. So, um, let's see. Please make a turtle soup video. It's fairly similar to the inducement video. If you watch that, how do you manage your psychology once you're in a trade? You just don't screw it up. Just trade the plan. That's essentially what it is. And then like you can't resist feeling emotions. You kind of have to just let them go through you. Because if you just resist them, it's just going to be harder. So you have to feel your emotions, can journal them while you're in a trade. Um, So one question from Nico, can you give us an example of how you approach the week step by step, how you determine the profile? Like walk us through to a trade.
What do you say? You said walk through a trade, or what's
Yeah,
the?
or like walk through a trade you took. Honestly, if you want to just pull up like I feel like the best way would just be pull up one of your Twitter posts, yeah?
I think I'm sharing my trading
I
view screen, but I
yeah.
can
I can
look on the
always
chart.
here. I'll put it to my screen real quick and then you can adjust. So it's on my screen now. So you can do whatever.
It's a little delayed.
Yeah. US 100 CFD is the same as trading Nasdaq. It's not the same. They track similarly, but the CFD is not the same as futures contracts, right? So it's going to be slightly different. CFD will be a little more gappy. Market structure break or change in state of delivery. Someone asked that. Whatever you prefer.
I definitely prefer change in state of
Yeah.
delivery for sure.
Hey, Wisdom. I already answered that question, so I think you've asked it a few times. I'm not seeing your question. I'm sorry, Mike. I miss a lot of questioners. Uh, I don't do any live trading in my Discord. I'll sometimes like post some live analysis and teach, but it also is just it's a free Discord, so yeah. Is August a good month to trade? What's your take? I mean, I've only been in this 2 years, so I'm not insane, but I focus on the daily chart mostly. I know there's seasonal tendencies, but we'll see how. I know the seasonal tendencies for NQ and futures aren't great going into August, so then maybe I'll switch to looking more into Forex. I asked the same question 3 times. Well, there's also been like 500 questions, so I will miss them. Market structure shift and break of structure. Break of structure is a continuation of trend. Market structure shift is a shift in trend, so from bearish to bullish, vice versa. I do use standard deviations. I have a video on that, and I actually learned those from AM. So,
I could give an example of that if it
yeah,
helps.
go for it.
Is it on my chart?
Yeah, I moved it over.
I'll just keep juice in this example. I traded it. That's the only reason. So like standard deviations, giving you like a simple rundown of one way to use it is anchoring the manipulation on the market structure. So I'm looking for, obviously this is a weekly fractal price, so I can mark it out again. On a weekly chart, I'm using the hourly to project these standard deviations, but on an intraday basis, which I can also show you, I'm using a lower time frame. So grabbing a standard deviation, and I'm looking for the origin of the reversal where price changes the state of delivery, and I'm looking for the manipulation move that runs into the PD ray, that reversed price itself. So here we can have, obviously we have a previous day high and this run into that high and the reversal. So I'm taking this point, anchoring it down to this point, and I'm using these projections for expansion. And I don't have the labels on there because I don't need them, but I'll throw them on. So here we have this measuring manipulation, projecting it downwards, and 2 and 2.5 is a good first target, but that's projecting this low. So if you saw the trade that I took here, this was my full take profit because it's lining up with this deviation, and we get a nice little retracement there. And then we have a 4 and 4.5, which I consider a max expansion. So for the week, this is what I consider what should cap the weekly range and how far it should run through like these consolidated lows here. And yeah, as you can see, it caps the expansion really nicely. So this is an example of I'm trading the profile, anticipating Thursday and Friday downside expansion. But on Thursday, we already reached the max expansion deviation. So as you can see on Friday, trying to get to that point, it wasn't low resistance. It's very choppy. So that was like how I use this as part of my rule set as well as, not trading Friday because I'm not expecting much more downside expansion past this point. And you can even line these up with a daily level. You can go down to a lower time frame. So When I'm trying to capture an intraday manipulation, I'm going down to a lower time frame. So this would be Thursday. I can mark the midnight price. So when Thursday opens, I understand these are the weekly projections. I can find here, this is the main manipulation before the distribution. So I'm going to mark the market structure high to low here. And you can see that these two levels line up really nicely, and that could be your target using overlapping confluences, for the deviation. So there's a few ways to do it. There's a lot of ins and outs of it, but for a basic rundown, that's how you can use it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to read some questions. Why didn't you use the low with a big candle down at 12? That was the recent question.
Where?
One candle to the right, he's saying.
On the hourly chart?
I'm not. So he's projecting the manipulation. So he's projecting the move up, not the big move down. I'm not really sure on the question there. Can COD? What's COD?
God, can happen multiple times.
I'm not sure what COD is.
Change of delivery, maybe. I
Like,
don't know.
uh, use a specific time frame for projections. I prefer to, use the hourly on the higher time frames, and then I like 15-minute and 5-minute for like lower time frames. Swing low before the manipulation. I don't know. I think we're confused. Change of delivery. I mean, let's see. I think once you have a bias that backs up your lower time frame direction, it's a lot easier to trade in one direction. And then if your invalidation point is reached, you were wrong. Since tomorrow we have so many red folders coming out, can we expect Euro and GBP to form a high low? I haven't looked at any of the news or stuff for pound or euro. I was only looking at dollar right now. I don't really have a bias on ES right now. It's honestly kind of choppy. We've been in kind of a range for the last week-ish. But let's see. Dixie 4-hour market maker sell model. I don't trade the silver bullet. I actually trade the MMXM traders model. So I can pull up his Twitter and throw it in here if you guys want. He just wants you to do the initial projection, not the second one more time.
The initial one? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so like I said, weekly projections trying to capture the weekly expansion. I'm looking at the least an hourly chart, and then that run up into the higher time frame PD array. I use the hourly because you can see a lot of wicks here. That's noise. I'm trying to cancel that out. So I take the projection from the high. So this up move here, I'm taking the absolute high to the swing low, anchoring the market structure, holding that there, and then that gives you the projections.
Do you use short-term, intermediate-term, long-term highs and lows? I personally focus on intermediate-term structure the most. I don't know. What about you, Am?
Uh, Depends on short term. I don't know what really defines as structure. so I'm not 100% sure how to answer
Yeah.
that. That can mean a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't look at the COT data. I don't know, AM, do you?
No, nothing, anything outside of the weekly candle, I don't really consider.
Let's see. Can you walk us through what to look for in the calendar? Should we find red folders with regards to euro to confirm the profile or USD? In both cases, euro USD. So I think most of the time, I don't think, do you trade any forex? I don't think you do you? AM?
Rarely,
Yeah. So
but
like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
not
go for it.
rarely. No, I don't trade it as often. I like to do swing trades on it if it's clean on a higher time frame, but I favor indices.
In the context of ICT 22 mentorship episode 12. So essentially, I think he's just meaning, I mean, yeah, in that context, I still just focus on intermediate term structure. How old were you when you started trading? For me, investing wise, I was like 15 or 16, but trading wise, um, what would that be? 19 or 20? 20? Personally, I'm not looking at most things over a year ago. Or would that, yeah, over a year ago. If anything, I'll just be focused on old highs and lows. But let's see, swing low with the whole leg. Just to clarify, it's the most recent swing low that manipulated and not the swing low of the whole leg, because I would have placed it at the bottom of the fib at 15,945. Oh, I think he means like all. What low would that be? Would that be low of Asia? Is that what he means?
9:45.
Yeah, I think he means like Asia low. So
Uh,
like
um, I don't
to
really see.
to the left of Asia low. I think he's meaning
Oh,
like those that whole leg up.
yeah, he's saying like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not how I anchor it. I like to use like that one swing move that drives into the PD array, which would be this is a swing low here. That move there, I like to project.
Yeah. But I want to see your analysis on Euro USD. If you join the Discord, I'll post it in there. Do you expect NQ to return to the week 1 plus fair value gap? I mean, I honestly don't do a whole lot of analysis on the weekly chart, but I mean, it already retched into the fair value gap there. But we are coming up on an hour, and I'm gonna try to keep these live streams near an hour long. Um, but if you guys do have more questions, feel free to hop in the Discord and ask them, and we'll get to them at some point. But other than that, big thanks to AM for coming out and sharing some information with us. If you guys do check out his YouTube and his links, the PDF on Weekly Profile is just kind of the like tipberg of the iceberg of what he has for PDFs that he has out there. So if you check out his landing page or website, he has a bunch of them linked there if you want to go use those resources to learn. My Discord is completely free. But yeah, is AM doesn't have a Discord, so. But thanks everyone for coming out, and next time I do another one of these, I will be sure to post it in the community tab. And if you don't want to miss it, make sure to turn on those notifications. So, but other than that, if you have more questions, please leave them in the Discord, and I'll try to get to them when I can. So, AM, do you have any ending thoughts or anything you want
No,
to talk
just
about?
thank you for stopping in. It's pretty fun to do these, so hopefully you learned a little bit.
Oh, what's up? Nick just showed up. Nick, we're just ending it. But Yeah, but before we leave, make sure to click that pinned comment and go ahead and go over to AM's channel and subscribe and check out his last TGIF video, and then leave a comment or something, show your appreciation. So, but with that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it. I'll see you guys all later. I hope you have a great rest of your day. The Discord link, it's in the description below or in my landing page. So, see you guys. Let's see.